So we're here this morning at the Board Bia stand at Ploughing 2025, and I'm joined by Mark Zieg from Board Bia. Mark, I suppose this has been a phenomenal year by all accounts in the beef trade in Ireland. You know, when we were here last year, I think prices were, I don't know, around €5 a kilo, and obviously we are where we are today. Can you tell us, I suppose, what's happened in the past 12 months in the Irish beef trade?
Yeah, Breffney, it's been really about scarcity of supply, both in Ireland and then obviously in our biggest markets in the UK and in Europe. So that has created a lot of demand for us in the markets, and that has really been pushing prices up, and even pushing on cattle demand. Has brought out some cattle earlier in the year that we wouldn't have expected to see yet. We would have expected to see them now. So that's really what it was, yeah.
And I suppose, like, you know, it's not just in Ireland that we're seeing supplies back, Mark. You know, we're seeing it in probably a lot of our key markets. Europe, I think supplies are probably down in the US too. Is it a lot of the Northern Hemisphere that this is happening?
A lot of the Northern Hemisphere and even some of the other global suppliers like Brazil and that are slightly lower too. But, you know, to put some figures on it, the UK will be down by 5% this year. So far, production in Europe is down by 8%. And some of the individual countries are 13, 14, 18% down. So it's very scarce in terms of supply. That has been pulling in a little bit more of non-EU product again, but like that is really only to plug the gap that is there from European product, yeah.
And then I suppose looking at the demand piece, you know, are we still seeing, you know, in our key markets as big an interest as ever in our prime cuts, or you know, what kind of beef cuts are in demand in our key markets, and how is that changing?
Yeah, look, demand across the board really around a lot of the the different occasions and that, like Easter and Christmas and bank holidays and things like that. Obviously the summer the steaks will be strong, but forequarter has been particularly strong. So, you know, around the burgers and mincing, and obviously in a lot of scenarios, both at the retail and the food service, the burger is a more affordable option than the steak. The steak has got so expensive that actually volume sales on steaks in things like the retailers are down, because just the prices are hard for a lot of consumers to reach. But as I say, with the lower supplies that are there, there is still good demand for those products coming from Ireland. And as well, we're coming in now shortly into the season where factories will be building supplies for the Christmas trade, and we did see a good demand for beef around that, especially from the UK last year, and we'd expect to see that from the domestic market, the UK retailers again. It's a major time for them, and that will surely develop some demand for cattle again now over the next few weeks.
Yeah, so I'm sure farmers will also be hoping that the demand piece remains strong in the lead up to Christmas. But then looking at the supply side, Mark, you know, how does Board Bia envisage that to look, you know, into the final quarter of 2025 and into 2026, of course?
Yeah, look, it's looking like tight supply. You know, at the half year we were actually up on supplies where we would have expected from the figures that we're getting from AIMS and calculating in then the live exports, and that we would have been more tight in the first half than the second half. But as it is, and we've seen that over the last number of weeks, that cattle are actually very tight now, and that would remain so, you know, for definitely for the rest of the year. So we'll actually end up maybe 90 or 100,000 head down for the year. So, you know, that will mean that there will be weeks coming up now after maybe there's some cattle coming off the land, as we always see, coming around the ploughing time or after, depending on the weather. But you know, after that sort of gets out of the way, there will be tightness in supply, and as I said, that should be a good signal for farmers and for prices.
Yeah, so some positive soundings there, and hopefully the level of confidence will continue in the beef industry. Mark, thank you very much for joining us on the live stream this morning.
Thanks, Breffney. My pleasure.
Back to studio.